So it would pretty much just need to lock down the upload folders and then the site itself.
Yeah, go ahead.
So have you seen S2 member? Look at that. All right, try that. And another thing I do
Is that a plugin?
It is a plugin. S2member.com. That's something. And then what I've done before is actually taking assets that I want to have shared, because I'm not using a membership plugin, and you can actually link to them through the above the root. So it's not really accessible unless you have like a hidden link, an encrypted link or something like that. So I don't know. I'm sure you can manipulate that so all your media goes there. So.
Yeah. I don't really want to have to do something like that, but if I have to do something like that, I just have to. Okay. So I just figured you guys would be like, oh, do this. So no one really knows the answer to that question.
No, I know it's possible to do. I've seen people do it before.
Well, it has to be possible because there's member sites all over the place, and I know some of them are WordPress.
Yeah. What about MemberPress? Have you tried?
I know. I literally had a conference call with them yesterday, getting their list of wants, and been too busy with other stuff to. I'm doing all the research and stuff next week. So.
I know Chris Lemma really highly. Yeah, MemberPress. Yeah.
Oh,
Press. Yeah, it's by Blair Williams. He's a really good WordPress developer, and Chris Lemma really. I know Chris Lemma actually just wrote an article or updated his. He updated his top membership plugins reviews.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And
although
I know that ranks highly in
we
Google.
had some problems with one of their membership plugins that he was promoting, so but I think we were really customizing it.
So what is it exactly you don't want certain users to be able to do?
It's not the users.
Not certain users, because and here's the easy part. One of the girls who's going to be in charge of administrating everything, she's fine with even assigning, because right now their users are 35 people, and it's probably not going to go up past that. It's like a group of coworkers spread out across the United States, and they just want to be able to log in and have a bunch of resources there. But some of it is semi-sensitive information because it has to do with their clients. So, and the other thing is there's a bunch of resources in there that are technically paid for their clients, but they have access to all of it. So anything, I want them to have the ability to upload PDFs and Word files and PowerPoints and whatever they're using so that other staff members can go in there and click them and download them. But that stuff needs to not just be
available to the public.
Right.
Right.
I just shared, sorry, I was raising my hand. I shared an article by Chris Lima, of all people, that he had posted this a while back. His recommendation which is similar to the ones that I've seen, but I think this one that might actually be a little bit better, is something called S3 Media Maestro. And what it does is it ties in your media content to S3. But the way that S3 works by default is S3, when you want to share something that is private, instead of giving you a direct link in S3 to something, S3 will actually give you a sort of a temporary link, if that makes sense. And that temporary link is tied to the product that's at S3, so you can't just share that temporary link. That temporary link has to be generated by code.
So S3 Media Maestro is something outside of WordPress, it sounds like?
No, it's a plugin for WordPress, but it ties itself to S3. So the idea is all of your content wouldn't be hosted on the server itself that you're doing this on. It would be hosted on S3.
That sounds like maybe
I've got a better solution than
go ahead.
having to sign up for S3 and all that stuff. This is called a WP Download Manager, and I've used it, wpdownloadmanager.com. It's pretty good at what it does. You can literally upload any PDFs and then assign it to specific user roles, assign it to a specific user. It encrypts everything.
Nice.
Oh, well, that sounds perfect.
That sounds like a better option.
You could unlock it with a tweet. You can unlock it with a password.
So then I could probably just give everybody a subscriber role to log in.
Right. You should just, if there's only 35 users, just use the standard WordPress login. Use a plugin like Theme My Login, which basically allows you to, handle the perfect. And
does it create a custom post type?
And then use this plugin. I believe it does.
Okay, that's beautiful.
There's another plugin that I've used. I don't know if it's still relevant, but it's called Restricted Site Access, which is more general. If you go to any URL on the site, it redirects you to the login if you haven't already logged in.
We just got a share from Phil out at, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. We just got a share from Phil out in New Zealand. He says for you to try WP Filebase Pro.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Phil in New Zealand. Okay, so that was question number one. It looks like I have decent stuff to check out. So question number two, and this one might be easier. Like, so WP Water Cooler, they're using Google Hangout.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's embedded on their website. So that's something pretty, I mean, you're not going to Google Hangout to access that feed. It's like on WPWaterCooler.com.
Mhm.
Is that something like pretty
You-
straightforward? that
You can,
just-
with Hangouts, you can embed the
Okay,
Hangout,
that's what I figured.
and they embed it in their, they embed the Hangout on their website for the live stream, and then the Hangouts by default saves whatever Hangout, once the Hangout is over and done, it saves it to YouTube. So then all they have to do is share that YouTube link.
Okay,
If that
but if
makes
we
sense.
don't want it on YouTube, we can shut that off probably somehow.
Yes, you can,
Okay.
you can.
Well, I just figured that was the answer I was gonna ask you guys. So then if that's in there, that would be locked down too, as long as people are logged in and that's on a specific page on the website. I mean, I don't think they would care.
If you're talking about you want to do like a private Hangout on the
They
website?
wanna have, yeah, they wanna have their staff members have like a webcast at a
Okay.
certain time during the week,
Yeah.
so they all log in and they watch it.
Yeah, you can have private Hangouts.
Okay, so
That'd be
then
cool.
last question, I've never used BuddyPress, but is that something where like we can install that and then they can have a forum like easily?
Yeah.
That's how
I'd
that
use
works?
BB Press.
Yeah,
Oh, is that what it is? BB?
for
Yeah.
forum, BuddyPress is more for, if they want to build like an internal social network.
Right.
BBPress is more of a forum system that they can use.
What else does BuddyPress do?
It's a social
You
network.
can
so
create
think-
groups.
Yeah.
You can, you can really fine tune it to create basically your
People
social
can create
network.
profiles and,
So BBPress.
You can friend people.
yeah, I can
Yeah.
follow you, you can
It's
follow
really
me.
cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go that.
It's a little
crazy
far.
with it. Yeah, okay. All right, well, that takes care of it.
But if you
Yeah.
use WordPress users and you decide to use BuddyPress, it won't be that hard to transfer over. Because it uses the standard WordPress
Well,
user.
nothing they have right now is associated with WordPress at all. So I'm just trying to see if WordPress is even the way we should go based on the stuff they want. But
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like everything they need, we can do with WordPress.
Yes.
And they're using it for the site I built them for like their clients. And so they're already used to using it. So I'd like to do the same thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
You should definitely be able to
The-
use WordPress.
The WP File-Based Pro seems pretty cool. In fact, they have, looks like they have like search integration into the PD, like, you can do PDF files directly.
Who builds this?
It's, it doesn't have a different brand on it. Just looks like it's somebody's actual project.
Okay.
But what's interesting is it actually lets you search keywords in the PDF, which is kind of cool.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's interesting.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and the free version lets you do that. And then the pro version gives you the file permissions and the file passwords and does PDF thumbnailing. Yeah, and premium support and so forth. So that's pretty decent. You bookmark this one.
Cool, cool. Good share. Good shares today.
All right, Jim. Actually, sorry. Would you like to share something you've been working on, or
I have more questions for the group.
by all means, ask away.
Well, I don't know if I need to go up there,
Yeah, it's okay.
but, does anybody have an opinion about Visual Composer? It's a plugin that lets you drop in like tabs or.
So we were talking about that.
Yeah, we were
earlier
just
today,
talking
right?
about that. It's pretty awesome. I love it. But I find for the super beginner, it is easier to understand for them. But like, I was just talking about how I thought the front end builder could be a lot easier because you're actually visually building it, and themes like headway or page lines that allow you to actually build the site, from the front end. For those users who want to do that, I think it's a really
I like your option a little bit better than the
Yeah.
Visual Composer.
So, yeah, I was just wondering if it could put a lot of overhead on the site.
Visual Composer.
Yeah.
It can add a fair amount of CSS and JavaScript depending on the site, but it's not, horrendous or anything like that.
So Devin, you would use that for something, the premium theme that you're gonna sell, because that would make the theme more marketable for people that wanna be able to do stuff like that. But
Exactly.
if you were working on a site for a client for like a medium-sized business or something, you probably would not want to use something like that, like unless the client really insisted on it, because it seems like it would make it just everything more difficult.
Well, the whole point of the plugin is to make everything more easier to build. And if you're going to ask, how is the user going to create different columns on pages? If they want to create pages and they want 2 columns, how would you ask them to do that? What's your solution? Like, I mean, you could create advanced custom fields and have it really
Well,
specific.
yeah, I mean,
so that's one route to go.
I mean, they don't typically, they wouldn't need to do that though. I mean, yeah, if that's what they wanted, if they
Yeah.
knew about that and they wanted to have.
I think it really
that
depends on the
ability.
client, really. If they want a more box solution, advanced custom fields is perfect. You can create those page templates for them. But if they want to kind of be more freewheeling, then maybe Visual Composer is the way to go. But it does add a lot of styles in there. So
But then you kind of have to make sure they're not going to break it by, messing with it.
yeah,
Well, I like that. Sorry, go ahead.
So what I understood about the front-end builder was that you're not sure it's the solution yet, right? You're new to it.
it's only been out for 2.5 months, so definitely Visual Composer is a more mature product. And but after testing Front End Builder for a day, 2 days, it can still hold its own.
Okay.
And the developer seems dedicated to making it a solid product.
So then the other question I had was, I have a client that has a B&B, and they have a calendar widget that will take you off the website so you can start actually booking a room. And that's broken my widget screen. And I wondered if anybody's aware of any sort of special jQuery or something that runs that. What happens is every other screen in WordPress will expand. Like if you click on it, the screen options will come down. But when you get to this widget screen, nothing is clickable.
Click on JavaScript and you create JavaScript dribbles down. So it sounds like whatever plugin you have is running on that specific page.
Well, I actually disabled every plugin.
What are you saying, when you say screen is expanding, what are you talking about?
Well, on the widget screen of WordPress, you can drag and drop widgets
Oh, in the
into a
app?
sidebar.
Yeah,
It's on
I
the
think
app.
he's right. Definitely broken JavaScript on that page, because if that doesn't work, install the debug bar plugin, and that'll tell you specifically what.
Where the problem's coming
Well,
from.
are you aware of any specific JavaScript that runs that screen?
Yeah,
So-
we'd have to log in and check it out.
Code in the widgets, do you have widgets that are,
It actually just pulls up some libraries from their website.
So you deactivated all the plugins on
I
the
did,
site?
yeah.
And what about, did you try switching themes?
I did that as well.
And it's still broken.
did you
What I
remove
did?
the code for their widget? It's
Well,
probably a problem with whatever you're pasting in from the calendar.
I don't think it is, because really it's just a reference to some
Okay.
stuff on their website.
Have you upgraded recently?
I did that, it's 3.61,
Okay.
and I actually recopied WordPress over, and then it was okay, but then it went back and stuff.
It could be their libraries. It could be whatever libraries they're
Well, he said
trying
he
to.
But I know that
deactivated
it's-
all plugins.
They were saying
No.
that their UI, their Java, their jQuery UI had to be theirs, and that.
Oh, that's
It's
bad.
not
Yeah,
what
it should
you're
be
talking
using WordPress.
That's so bad.
Their,
Yeah,
their calendar, whatever you're pasting in there from their calendar, sounds like it's probably breaking it.
Yeah, that's
Here's,
not good.
this is the back end, like the admin area.
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I've been-
So we've had problems with that before on a couple different sites. I think the admin, it just doesn't work. It's just stuck or something like that, right?
Right.
I think we ended up adding there's a plugin, it's like jQuery library or something like that. I don't remember specifically, but you can add that and then things started working again. So I don't remember what the conflict was.
You think it's like a cache issue or something?
Plugin?
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it before the evening's over.
Okay.
I don't remember the sites we had it on, problem with, but.
And then I have a third question. This is,
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's kind of silly, but thinking about the migration is what made me think about this, because I have really fast internet, but my upload speed is really slow. So I wondered if anyone was aware of like an FTP program where you could FTP between 2 servers without downloading to your computer first.
Something like a git deploy, probably.
Yeah. Well, you can I stopped using FTP a long time ago. But you can, if you have a lot of content, what you could do is just like get in it, whatever your, like your WP content folder, create a private GitHub repository for your WP content folder, add that remote repository in your WP content, get in it, and then just basically say git add dot, download everything, and just push everything up to GitHub.
Yeah, it gets kind of dangerous when you do that, though, right?
Private. It has to be private. You can't have it be a public repo. As long as it's a private repo, you're good.
Bitbucket is awesome because you get unlimited repos for free.
What's it called?
Bitbucket.
Bitbucket, yeah.
Yeah, it's like GitHub. But it's,
Does anybody use
So
Beanstalk?
you said you don't use FTP, what do you use?
yeah,
Probably SSH, SCP is good, if you're just transferring files from one server to another.
it's hard to
SCP?
Yeah, SCP is the command.
Okay. Cool, that's great.
Go back to your earlier question, I think it's use Google Libraries plugin, if I remember right.
Use Google Libraries?
Oh, yeah, because it doesn't use the
It
WordPress or
replaces the WordPress library.
with Google's
Yeah, or if
jQuery
it's
library.
missing.
Yeah, it might be a problem with it not having the most up-to-date jQuery library, could be breaking it. possibly.
Try it, it'll take you a minute.
I just found it really weird because it only breaks that one page.
I've had that same problem. Sucks.
So use Google Libraries.
Yeah, that's what it's called, I'm on it now.
Okay. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for asking questions. What's your name, brother?
Randy.
Randy, would you like to, actually, oh, my bad. Sorry. Who's your turn?
Can't forget about Jim.
Go Jim, go Jim.
Now.
Sorry, I didn't see Jim on the chair there, and I forgot he was sitting back here eating more pizza.
I like that pizza.
Dude, which one was your favorite? Was it the tomato
I
one?
like the tomato.
The
Oh, I
tomato
like
one,
the other
like
one.
literally,
I like
like,
the tomato.
oh, the tomato one was good.
You know, I'm standing up here, Leon. What's this? I'm sitting up here and I look at you guys.
He's
and my
getting,
brain
he's
works
getting the
really
hacker
funny.
beard.
I want to sort you guys by beard length. I
Dude.
know it's Michael, Leon, AJ.
What about me?
He's got
Yeah, I
a little
saw
hair
it,
like
yeah, I
this
saw
guy.
it.
You just need to move down here because you're clean shaven.
I want to sort y'all. You were kind of well done before Balon walked in.
Dude, you
And I was
should-
going to say, this is cool. Beard length sorting.
You should have seen me a month ago, dude. My beard was like down to here. It was insane.
Well, that's the nature of it. Okay, so I want to do something a little crazy and talk about WordPress deployment. We've never done that before. How to deploy WordPress from a standard installation that you have set up to any server that you want, GoDaddy, WP Engine, wherever you want, in literally a few inches. So actually, forget about WP Engine, they don't do cPanel. But I want to start by, I put the slides online, so if you go to our meetup group, you will actually see a Dropbox, and you'll be able to, right below where it says, who's going to tonight's meetup and bring their computer. I ended up bringing mine, and then it has a little Dropbox link. So if you want to see what I'm saying, because the screen's a little bit hard to read, you can go ahead and click that or use it later. So I'm going to be talking about a wonderful thing that's near and dear to my heart. It's called cPanel. cPanel is pretty much the standard standard control panel for the majority of hosting companies out there on the planet that works. There are a lot of companies that can their own thing, but cPanel is the best developed, and for the most part is the best to use for a company or web designer who has lots and lots of websites. And I'm going to describe to you one of the reasons why that's the case. Now in my little talk up here, I give my little presentation that says quick WordPress deployments using cPanel backup. And nobody ever thinks about this. And I always say to myself, why do you guys do it so difficult? I do WordPress all day and I move sites and I never think twice about it. So I'm now going to tell you how to do it so quickly that your mind's going to be blown. Okay. I'm serious.
I'm ready for that.
Bam!
So quick.
Mind's blown.
Bam.
All right. My description: simply back up your standard installations, home directory, and database with cPanel. And I'm going to show you what cPanel looks like so you'll have an understanding of what I'm talking about. For I know a lot of you don't use cPanel, but that's perfectly fine. It's good to know that it exists, and it's a pretty good thing. So I'm going to find the backup option. Now on the page, it actually is the word backup. Now what's cool about cPanel is it does something that nobody seems to know about. It always surprises me. Clients call me on the phone, they say, how do I back up my database, or how do I back up my website? And I'm going to go through a slide here in a moment about it, but the two things